If you go from 4 to 5 sets per muscle per week to 10 sets per muscle per week, that alone like doubles growth.
Yes.
Right?
No! How can Mike sit there and just agree with an idiot? Why does he do this? And he's not actually an idiot. I just think he either didn't pass everything in school, he's doing this on purpose for clicks and views. No, I actually think he's just an idiot.
Grass. When you're comparing your progress, do it to the expected version of your alternate universe self.
Yeah, I 100% agree with Mike. Yeah, 100% agree with Mike. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Oh, this guy made more gains than me. Oh, that guy, he put on 40 pounds in 2 years. I didn't. He must be on steroids. Well, why are you comparing you to other people when you don't have the same genetics? Would you compare yourself to your friends who do better than you in school? Oh, you study more than them, but they get higher grades. Well, perhaps they're smarter.
Grass.
And so rather than thinking, well, in the first year I put on 10 pounds, how come I only put on 5 pounds this year? Well, you're going to grow fewer and fewer each and every year. You understand, I have a master's in kinesiology just like Jeremy, and I know the lack of intelligence of most of the people that were in the classes with me. I had the highest GPA every single year, and I would ask my friends certain questions, and based on their response, I'd be like, this guy is going to be a physical education teacher. This is going to be a trainer. They know nothing. They have no clue what they're doing. Jeremy, I believe, one of those guys, but yet look at him. He's made it. He's got, 7 million followers? And so it just goes to show you don't have to actually know anything to do well on social media. Let's just listen to this again. You probably don't even understand why it's so moronic. Listen to this.
Basically what they found is like if you go from 4 to 5 sets per muscle per week to 10 sets per muscle per week, that alone like doubles growth.
Yes.
Right?
Do we need to play this again so that the slow people in the room with IQs below 79, 14,
Grass.
will get it? Okay, if you do 5 sets for chest, say, and then you switch it over to 10, he said you're gonna double your gains. No, 10 is double 5, but it doesn't mean you're gonna double your gains. What's next? If you do 500 milligrams a test and you double it to 1,000, you're gonna grow twice as much muscle? No, it doesn't work like that. I mean, let me give you another example. If you know nothing and you study for 10 hours and you get a 90 on a test, you study for 20 hours, are you gonna get 180? The most you could get is 100. Does that make sense to you? So stupid.
But in order to get another huge jump in growth, you're gonna have to go up to, maybe 20, even 30 sets per muscle per week.
Oh yeah, and then, so if you double that up again, 10 to 20 sets, well, you're gonna double your gains yet again. Does he think growth is linear? Double your sets, double your gains? If you go from 5 sets a week to 10, it's possible you won't gain a single extra pound of muscle. If that causes you to overtrain, you will actually make less growth, less progress. And to go from 10 to 20, for many people, it's gonna result in a decline in growth. You're gonna be sore, you're not gonna recover. And so if you add in more volume, for example, going from 5 to 10 or 10 to 20 sets, you're gonna have to decrease your intensity. People say when you're natural, you can't have all three. Size, shreds, and symmetry. You gotta pick 2. I personally don't believe that, but when it comes to building muscle, there's 2 ways to do it. Intensity and volume. The more of one you do, the less you can do of the other. If you increase volume and intensity at the same time, most likely you're going to overtrain. And so this is a mistake. And so to go from, for example, 5 sets to 10, let's say 5 sets was gonna have you put on 5 pounds of muscle. Going to 10 for most people would probably be 6. It's the law of diminishing returns. Why didn't they speak of this? Do you all know this law? The more of something doesn't make it better. And so when we talk about this in economics, for example, when you go and you want to buy a slice of pizza, the first slice is the best. You're starving. Pizza, $5, I will pay for it. I'll pay $10, I'm starving. Okay, what about 2 slices of pizza? Well, I'm not so hungry right now, but I'll still pay $7. It was very good pizza. What about third slice? Well, for $5, yes, sure. Okay, what about for 10 slices of pizza? I'll pay not to have to eat the last 5 because I'm full. There's no value to that anymore. And so consider the training volume as filling your body up. You're filling it up with gains. Once you get to a certain amount, adding more, it's not good. It's bad. It's like eating pizza when you have a stomachache because you've overeaten. And so if you do too much volume, you are going to diminish your gains, not improve them.
So there's diminishing returns there.
And so he says, there's diminishing returns there. Jeremy thinks that the law of diminishing returns only occurs after 20 sets. 30 is probably better than 20, but hey, it's a law of diminishing returns. If that was true, every single IFBB pro bodybuilder would be doing 20 to 30 sets for each muscle each and every week, but they are not. Now, do some do this? Yes. Some people perform better with high volume. Some people perform better with high intensity, but nobody performs best with high volume and high intensity because they would overtrain. Do you really think people are going to failure and beyond the way Coach Greg trains and does 30 sets in a single week? 30 sets of chest to failure, drop set, screaming, training like Tom Platz. There's no way. Nobody, even with steroids, trains like this. And so this is for the natties. Natties of the world. Oh, another story for you. I used to train every single day, 7 days a week. Now, you all know I stopped using performance-enhancing drugs, and I'm only on HRT, which is still a performance-enhancing drugs, but I know that people get mad when I say this, and it's 140 milligrams a week. I mean, I read the comments. It's not 125. You lied. It's 200 plus. You're on growth hormone. I'm on 140 milligrams of test a week. You can believe it or you do not need to. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But what you need to know is this. I now train way less than before. Way less. What have I been reading in the comments? Coach Greg is hot back on cycle. Look at how much bigger he's gotten. And so if I'm getting bigger, which is visually seen on the scale, I'm weighing in the 190s. About a year and a half ago, it was 180.6, about 10 pounds bigger. And so what did I do? I train with less volume. Why? Because I race bikes. Now, when I'm doing 7 to 9 hours of cardio a week on the bike and trying to lift weights all the time, my body couldn't recover. And so for me, less is more. And so if I listen to Jeremy Ethé right now, he's going to say, well, Coach Greg, you're on HRT, so you probably can handle 30 sets per week. Really, I should go and train 30 sets of chest in a week. If I did 30 sets for each body part, I'm going to be so sore. I'm not going to be able to ride my bike. I'm not going to be able to train. I'm not going to be able to recover. I'm going to be a living nightmare. Now, if I train really easy, like Mike Israetel, you saw him benching 240 for 2 reps. That was his max. If I trained that hard when clearly he could have done more, maybe I could handle 30 sets. 30 half-ass sets. But rather than that, how many sets do you think I do for chest in a week? You want to take a guess? It's about 6. How many sets of legs do you think I do in a week? It's close to 0. I don't train quads, I don't train hamstrings. But how is it possible that you have any size? Bike racing. And so if you race on a bike, do you really need 30 sets of quads to grow your muscle? Probably none. And how many sets of biceps do I do? Well, I try to get in about 6 sets a week. Hard. Now, my hard is harder than yours. And yes, I'm talking about the downstairs. And if you want it as hard as mine, get harder than last time. You know what it's for. Code Greg, 15% off. And so just because there's a graph with points on it doesn't mean that this is the science and that's what you have to do. Do you know how easy it is to manipulate this information? How hard were they actually truly training where the science showed that 30 sets was better? Was it using athletes who trained for 40 years on HRT? I'm pretty sure that it was not. And so how do they know that this applies to a 50-year-old who was a former professional bodybuilder who used steroids for 10 years but trained formerly natural for over 20 years? It doesn't have those stats. And so you can't just look at a graph and think that that applies to you. On average, maybe, but not for everyone. There are people who are known as outliers, and this does not apply to them. But for the most part, if you're an intermediate lifter and you're not doing a lot of cardio, 10 to 20 sets. But here's the caveat. 10 sets if it's hard and 20 sets if it's not. And so if you like to train like Coach Greg, you push yourself in the gym. You perhaps train more like Sam Sulik. You're pushing yourself. You're not doing science-based you're going to the gym and you're pushing yourself. You probably only need 10 sets per week, per body part. Now, if you're holding back, you're gonna do 5 sets here, 5 sets there, you're doing all of these things. You're probably pyramiding in weight and you're not really pushing yourself until the last set. Yeah, sure, go for 20. But remember, progressive overload. Start with 10, then the next time try 11, work your way up. Don't just double your volume and think you're going to double your gains.
How many sets per muscle can you do in a workout before the gains like really taper off?
Yeah.
And what they found is that that seems to happen around 11 sets.
I'm amused and I find it funny. These guys, they just read, and it's not Mike, I don't think, it's Jeremy. He reads a study and thinks it's like the holy grail. Like, oh, I read a study and gains taper out at 11 sets. And so, if you're trying to find out how many sets you should do in any given workout, probably 11, 12, 11.
Enrique!
Was I in the study? I don't remember being in that study. Was Mike Israel? Was Jeremy? None of us were in the study. Were they all natural? Were they on steroids? How many years of training? Did they account for how many reps in reserve did they have, and how did they know they had that many reps in reserve? Did they ask the client? Did they watch them with their clipboard and say, oh yeah, you had 3 reps left, 2 reps left? How did they make sure that they all trained equally hard? Did they all train to failure? How do you know they trained to failure? Did they just stop because they didn't feel like pushing any harder? A lot of times they'll say, how hard was it? I trained to failure. For $1,000 a rep, how many more reps could you have done? 3. Then you were 3 reps shy of failure. Does that not make sense? So just because it went to failure doesn't mean it went to failure. You get it?
So I would say that, you're pretty safe going up to about 11 sets for a single muscle.
Yeah, so I've decided from reading one study that it's 11 sets per workout that you need to do. 11 sets of shoulders is perfect. 12, 9, oh, way off. 11.
Enrique!
I do 3. How am I doing? How do you think I'm doing? I'm 50. 3 sets. Should I be doing 11? Oh my God, Coach Greg, you would probably beat Mike Sommerfeld if you did 11 sets. Holy God, if you doubled your HRT dose, would you make double your gains? I'm doing 140 milligrams a week. 280, am I doubling my gains? Am I triple my volume, tripling my gains? Wow, why don't I do 2 grams a test? I'll be 290 pounds by next week.
So if you have a muscle that recovers really quickly and you're really struggling to pour enough volume on it, 3 times a week is a big unlock.
100%.
Exactly. If certain muscles recover faster, you can train them more frequently. Let's say it's legs and you're sore. Should you train legs 3 times a week? Oh, I'm going in. What are you doing? Squats. Didn't you squat already twice this week? Yeah, I'm going for work 3. You're limping in because you're sore. You really think you need the 3rd squat workout? But what about your delts? Did 7 sets of delts already twice this week? Are they sore? Nope. I don't even feel like I train them. Go and do them a 3rd time. That makes sense. And so, depending on how sore you are, that is what you should let be your guide. Many people gonna disagree with me perhaps. Hey, I've only got 40 years training experience. I've only been coaching people for 3 decades. But if you're not sore at all, you can probably go train. If you still feel the tightness, the tenderness, probably still need to recover. Your body's not ready yet. It's very simple. When you go to train a body part, it should kind of feel recovered. And if it's not, you probably trained harder than you needed.
Okay.
It is the infamous Dr. Mike, I don't know what you call it, the line stretch bicep curl. I kid you not, if you guys haven't tried this, the pump was insane.
And so no, I don't think the 10-pound dumbbell curls are going to cause huge muscle growth, hypertrophy, and so on. Now, if you want to try it, you at least need to use a heavier weight. The 10-pound incline dumbbell curls are not the go-to exercise to use for your biceps. Now, if you want to grab cables behind you like this, walk forward and curl this way, and use an actual weight, something that challenges you, that is what you need to do. You've all seen the 10 and 15-pound dumbbell curls that Mike's doing with Jeff Nippert and so on. You need to challenge yourself. You can't just say, oh, I felt a burn, and so that is building muscle. Do you know what I feel a burn on? When I do 190 push-ups, but I don't want to have to do 190 push-ups. Yeah, I got a burn, but do you really think you need to do 100 plus reps in order to build muscle? You don't. You know what else burns? Walking up a major hill, but that burn isn't as good as doing a set of squats for 10 reps, doing 400 reps up a hill where you get the lactic acid burn. That is not what builds muscle. And so Rather than thinking I got a good burn, think, did you actually get a good workout? Okay, and so hopefully you understand why I get frustrated watching these videos, because they're saying so much nonsense. I wish they would explain things correctly. I don't know why people just can't get their heads wrapped around the fact that studies don't always mean exactly what they're showing. If you're looking to put on more muscle, you got your Turk Builder Max and Turk Platinum. If you're looking to get better shape, more cardio, you can get GO2 Max. And to decrease your appetite, we got GLP Max. And so you have whatever you need. Remember, lower testosterone levels, you can get G-Test Platinum. There's a ton of different supplements to choose from. Head to the website, code Greg, 15% off. And remember, if you're interested in applying for coaching, of course, click the link in the description. And Algo RX, you can click the link for that, code Greg, 10% off for all your blood work needs, as well as enclomiphene, telmisartan, semaglutide, tirzepatide, the list goes on and on. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like the video if you liked it. Don't forget to watch one of those 2 bloops. And of course, the cookbooks and other books on the website. And until next time, I am out.